Ballyhoo and welcome. The Passion Project continues. My name is Remedy Robinson, and this is an appreciation. This is an exploration of linguistics, language, and why the long beard, as framed by the peerless poetry of the modern-day master, Elvis Costello. Today's slow drag is with Mischievous Ghost from the Rhino reissue of Mighty Like a Rose, released in 2002. It was originally released as part of the Bringing It All Back Home soundtrack, released in 1991. The songwriting is credited to Elvis Costello's birth name. This episode has been requested by a loyal and astute fan who believes Mischievous Ghost was the impetus for Mr. Costello's dalliance with long hair, as he seems to have spent much time in the blank hillsides of Ireland himself at the time. This is pure speculation of his fashion choices, of course, and I, for one, am just happy it frames a certain era that seems to have started with the album cover of the tremendous King of America. To paraphrase his reasoning, he grew his hair out, and it frightened people, so he grew it longer. I admire this sort of petulance. She came dancing right before my eyes. She said she came to warn me before it dawned on me. I went walking on the blank hillside where the sunset falls, where the sunset dies. She gave me love, she told me lies, that most mischievous ghost, she was in disguise. This prelude to the ensuing action paints a slightly surreal, bucolic picture, as it also indulges in wordplay that can most certainly be called clever. Out in the darkness, wandering about, the mischievous ghost seems to appear before him before the first light, as well as before he is able to understand what's going on. Simple and elegant, this verse helps to bracket the story of an inconsiderate poet who does not live up to his artistic destiny. He started to whistle, they bought him a flute. He was talking in tongues, they swore he was mute. He scoffed and blasphemed, they said it was beautiful. Busted a button, they bought him a suitcase full. With a deceptively simple AABB rhyme scheme, the word he starts most lines and repeats logically. Flute and mute create a soft exclamation at the end of the first two lines. Beautiful and full might count as an identical rhyme, I suppose, but there always seems to be an asterisk. The use of opposites and the inconceivable are exquisite. Making music, yet is given a musical instrument. Talking gibberish, yet nonetheless they swore he cannot speak. The sound of scoffing and blaspheming is pleasant to this cajoling cast of characters who go on to overcompensate, as we tend to do when our sole aim is to please the celebrity in the form of a suitcase of buttons. They colored him cricket and laced him up tight. As he drew on their days, resurrected their nights. He raved in the dark, he went out in a blaze. There you go, they said, he's good for nothing and lazy. I'd always thought the line was, they colored him up quick and laced him up tight, but the ultra-reliable Elvis Costello wiki resource has it as, they colored him cricket and laced him up tight. Both seem to make as much sense as the other, perhaps, both conveying a rush job of sorts. Just another example of how fun monograms can be, and why a slow drag is a very sexy dance. Here we have another verse with deceptively simple AABB rhyme structure. Tights and nights, blaze and lazy, more cunning opposites of days and nights, light and dark. This is another great example of how there isn't enough attention paid, in my opinion, to the stellar economy of words Mr. Costello wields. And now turning a more educated ear to Mr. Costello's duets, since My Most Beautiful Mistake came into our lives and taught me a thing or two. This time we hear the stunning voice of the Irish songstress, Mary Coughlin. The first 3 lines in this verse are hers, ceding the last line to Mr. Costello's not to be denied bravado before melding their voices together in the energetic chorus to follow. With scandal and shame, they slandered his name. They told him to freeze, they damned him to roast, disappointed that he passed away peacefully, never dying to be a mischievous ghost. Again, with the delightful contradictions, opposites and inconceivable, they told him to freeze, they damned him to roast. I can't say I get it, but I can definitely say I love it. Then comes the thesis statement of this piece. They're disappointed that he passed away peacefully. Normally I shy away from this is what this piece is about, but in this case, the writer said it was the desire to subvert old, tired Irish myths, and wrote instead about a poet who's taken with the romantic myth and inconveniently dies peacefully in his sleep. So they dig him up and put him on display. Mr. Costello concludes, it's a sick song, actually. Sick, funny, you decide. They dug him up quick with a polish and lick. They powdered him up till he only looked sick. The hinge in his backbone would bend to applause, but his dancing was not quite as lively, of course. A sick song, maybe, but the observation at the end that his dancing was not quite as lively, of course, forgives everything, in my opinion. What a silly observation to help mirror the equally silly story about a man who didn't die the way he should have. These are the rewards immortality affords, bullied and bribed and beaten to bliss, parroting slack sentimental laments of going away and not being missed. More twisting wordplay with the fun consonants, bullied and bribed and beaten to bliss, parroting sentimental laments. It seems clear that the sentimental lament of not being missed certainly does not apply to our performing corpse. There will be no going away peacefully as he had once thought he had done. With the green beer and the shamrock tattoos, singing his songs of the battles we lose, and will ye come home again so we can murder you? What would you do if they took his word? With 48 million to join in the toast, move over, my darling, mischievous ghost. This postscript, mirroring the prelude in terms of tenor and tone, and with Mr. Costello's voice alone, is an outro that is chock-a-block with references I can barely get my head around. Well, the green beer and shamrock tattoos are self-explanatory, I suppose, if not slightly cliché in a way he sought to avoid, just to prove a point. But then Will Ye Come Home Again seems to be a subversion of the bagpipe song Will Ye No Come Back Again, which in turn seems to follow the narrative beautifully. If you know the meaning of the reference 48 million to join in the toast, please let me know. I'd rather appear ignorant rather than offensive.
Dig it.
Again, this has been a slow drag with Mischievous Ghost from 1991 soundtrack, Bringing It All Back Home. Also found on 2002's Rhino reissue of Mighty Like a Rose. It truly does seem to be a song about something, but the language used to express it makes it so much more than the sum of its parts. The clever placement of opposites, the economy of words, the pleasing rhymes, the lilt, the oddball imagery. They all commingle with Mr. Costello's and Mary Coughlin's voice, to create a time and place that very well could have existed, probably did, but then again, probably didn't. And that's it for today's slow drag, my friend. Thank you to the listener who suggested this hairy piece, and thank you for listening. I'll be back soon with another slow drag, so please subscribe so you won't miss an episode. As always, thank you for helping to get the word out about this little passion project. Truly, it means the world. So, until next time, adieu, my little ballyhoo. Slow drag with Renegade.